I'll just go quiet for me.
Shit, I'm at the toilet.
We're on Perry. Oh. Yeah. We are live. I think Gav's died.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. Jesus Christ, can any of you stay quiet for 20 fucking seconds? Good evening, everyone. It's the FB4. Ian, you were spot on.
Quiet.
Yeah, you were amazing. Matt is, I swear to God, verbal diarrhea. Anyway, and Grizz just can't. He just can't. It's impossible. All right, Grizz, how are you?
Nice one, mate.
Good stuff.
Thanks.
Matt, how are you?
All good, mate.
Oh, good. Ian, the best behaved boy, how are you?
Tips off, man. Tips off.
Good stuff. Welcome to the FB4. It's Sunday night. It's the original crew is back. Liverpool have won again, beating Fulham 2-0 at Anfield. We need 21 more wins, and we are champions. And forget what Man City are doing. Don't be panicking. It's all good. Let's get into it. Graves, I'm going to come to you first. The lineup. You didn't predict the lineup today. You stayed very, very quiet. But it was a good one, wasn't it? It was a good lineup. It was. You couldn't be arguing with that one.
Nah, it was. Yeah, it was to be expected, wasn't it? Fairly attacking. Sort of the usual back four, you could say. I mean, you know, considering Lovren's been out for a little while, so yeah, Shaqiri positive by playing Shaqiri. I did suspect Salah's going to go through the middle, Bobby dropping deep, but all in all, a very, very positive selection from Klopp. Must have read Twitter.
Yeah, he must have read your tweets, or you slid into his DMs, or something along them lines. Matt, there had to be changes midweek. It's as simple as that. Lallana seems to be the one that's got completely bombed after. Not in the 18-man squad. He brings Fabinho back in. He brings Gomez back in at the start. And he picks a team, doesn't he, that he knows Fulham are coming to put at least 7-8 men behind the ball.
Right, you can quit that shit, because no one's getting bombed in this team.
Got bombed.
People are... No, he didn't. He didn't at all.
He's on the transfer list.
He's come back for a long injury. He's being managed. He had a bad few games. It was pretty shit. But Klopp likes him. Klopp will give him a chance. He wasn't bombed. Other people got a chance. That's all it is. But this midfield for us is the one where everyone moans. Attack and defence, generally, we're okay. Gomez can come in for Trent. Lovren for Gomez doesn't cause too many issues as long as Van Dijk's there. But this midfield causes a lot of issues before the game. Today was pretty much what most people would pick, I think, and most people are happy with it. And I was too. I told you a while ago I gave up caring before the game. But this is the midfield that everyone wanted, and it was to break down a deep line team. But were we much better? I mean, did we come out and play this incredible football we've been screaming for from last season, where people were saying if we bring Shaq in and if we bring Fabinho in, did we play all that football that we wanted? I don't think we did. We controlled the game. We controlled the game like we've done all season. I don't think Klopp has stepped up the gear yet. I think we are in the world of sports science right now, and we are managing a post-World Cup season. And because we've built up the defence to a position now where we've got probably one of the top two defences in the league, we're in a good position where we can manage it, and sooner or later we will start coming out of the blocks a bit more. But for now, I still think we're being managed as a team. Maybe after this international break that we'll see a change, but something's definitely different, and we've got the same front three. So I don't know.
Ian, Matt says something's definitely different. Is it just the way teams are approaching us? Is it they were a bit naive against us last season and were a little bit maybe high up the pitch, or didn't have as many numbers behind the ball as you think. Is it something like that, or is it just us being at 70-80% and there's a bit more to come?
I think it's a combination of all of that. You got to remember, for all our free flow and amazing football last season, how many trophies did we win? We didn't win any.
I'll look it up for you.
Yeah, we didn't win any. So everyone wanting to hark back to what we done last season, it was primarily in the record books. It'll go down as unsuccessful. So this season we're almost impossible to score against at home. You know what I mean? We're very solid at the back. You'll win a lot more by being solid at the back and decent going forward than you will be being brilliant at forward. You're brilliant going forward and being decent at the back. So would I like to see the form of last season? Of course I would. But at the same time, Liverpool have got 30 points at this point of the season, which is staggering. It would just happen to be doing it in a season when one of the best sides there's ever been in the Premier League are around. It's basically the story of our lives in it as a Liverpool fan. We'll be shit for 4 years, then we'll be brilliant when there's a world-class team in our league. And then we'll be shit for another 3 years, and then we'll have another renaissance when there's another fucking team who's brilliant. We just need to dig deep, stay in it for as long as we can, and just hope that City drop off or get a few injuries or fucking break down on the way to the ground when we can get dock points. Do you know what I mean? Anything, you just got to stay in it. I think the midfield, I was disappointed Keita didn't start me, because I think he's the only midfielder that we've got who's potentially world class. I think the others are all very good. Some of them they range from functional to very good. I think Keita's got all the ability to be world class, and he's had a really slow start, a couple of injuries. I would have liked to have seen him start, but apart from that, Matt's right. There was no major difference. It's not about Henderson's playing so we don't play this free attacking football, or if Fabinho plays we're going to win 6-0. The squad are playing to a set plan, I think. Matt, as much as I hate to agree with him, like Matt's right. I do think we've tailored our style a little. I don't think we're going full throttle all the time. You can see it. We're getting our pressing stats this season compared to last season. I think something like 6 teams out of the last 8 have outran us in games we've played or whatever, and that's unusual for Liverpool. It was very unusual for Liverpool. So I don't think that's just by teams getting fitter or us getting lazy. I think that's by design. So at the moment,
unheard of.
You are.
I don't know what Chris said there.
Like I'm saying, so 30 points. What have we dropped this season? 4 points in 12 games.
6 points, is it?
Yeah, 6. We've got 3 draws.
Oh, is it? It's just 6 points in 3 games in 12 games. It's staggering. There's not a single Liverpool fan seeing the fixes that we've already had who wouldn't have bit your hand off for that. So people need to start maybe looking at the end product as opposed to how we're getting it. Because the end product's the most important thing at the end of the day, and we're getting the points.
Yeah, I listened to the Klopp table preview, and this thing about Klopp holding us back, and maybe I don't know, kind of pacing us a bit more, come up, and Jay Riley was of the opinion that he doesn't think it's like that. He just thinks we're simply not at the races like we were. But I think it's something in between. I just think we're not at full throttle, regardless of what way we're trying. Even if we're playing against teams that have 7, 8, 9, 10 men behind the ball, we're still not at full throttle with regards to the way we want to play that way. But against that, I still think we're trying to work out teams that are coming and playing deep against us and trying to be ultra defensive because they're terrified of us. But look, all we can do is keep going. We keep winning. This is. You
say that though, Gav. You say we're not at full throttle. We've got 2 players, 1 goal off the top scorer spot. We've got 2 players on 6 goals.
But that's the point I'm making. We're still winning. It's not like we're sitting here going, lads, we've played 11 games, we've won 5, drawn 3 and lost 3. Do you know what I mean?
We're winning, and we're scoring 2 a game.
Yeah, we're averaging 2. I think it's 2 a game we're averaging, and we're conceding less
1.9 it is, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, what are we, 0.5 a goal conceded per game, somewhere in around that. But I get people's frustrations because what he's seen last season. But as Ian said, I suppose he's right. What do we win? You have to kind of make some sort of sacrifices in order to get that extra step. Do you know what I mean?
I was thinking about this before. I think it was about February last season. We done a pod, and we were talking about United and Mourinho, and we discussed whether we would like to win ugly like that. And at the time, we were playing some of our best football, and I said no. I said I don't want to do it like that. Fuck it, like I'm enjoying this. I'm absolutely loving.
I said no as well.
Mate, I'm loving.
I was the only one. I was the only one who didn't. I was the only one who didn't say no.
But
I don't know if you're lying, but I'm going to fucking check this.
Yeah, I know. Whenever Chris is on like that, we always go back into the archives.
100%. I was the only one.
Our friend Keith there says he thinks we're playing better than last season, and it's hard to argue with that. Results-wise, we are better than last season.
At this stage of the season, we are. At this stage, definitely.
He's right. Listen, and it depends what you say. If you're just talking about attacking football, then obviously last season as a whole, no, we're not. But if you're talking as a very functional team, then 100%, we're a very good team right now.
Lads, how many times did we discuss last year about controlling games? And we said the one thing we lack is when we take a lead, we can't control games as much as we should. This season, only Arsenal have pegged us back when we've taken the lead.
Yeah. So everyone questioned Klopp's lack of plan B, Klopp's lack of just grinding out results, and now we're doing it. And you've got people calling for Conte.
Yeah, no.
I'll say one thing that's different from last year is a couple of our star players are playing very poorly. They're nowhere near. They're nowhere near at the level that they reached last year.
You're thinking Bobby, aren't you?
I think Bobby's been awful this season. Yeah. Awful. He doesn't look fit. Like by his standards, I think he's been. And I said it last week in a tweet. He's kind of gone under the radar a bit because there's other scapegoats. You know what I mean? Your Lallanas, your Hendersons, your Milners, Lovrens, and Bobby, because he's a fan's favourite, and rightly so. He's gone under the radar, but he's been really poor. I think I'm one of Mane's biggest fans. He couldn't strap a bag of cement at the minute. He had a shot in the first 5 minutes where he tries to bend it in the top corner, and it's dog shit. It's like a shot I'd do on FIFA. Do you know what I mean?
He score the world, either.
Yeah, he does, because that's what he does. He can be shit and stumble through 3 players, and then it's a 25-yard rocket with his wrong foot. He's that type of player. But I think as a team, we are much better at this start. Well, the stats say we are than we were this time last year. But individually, our players just aren't at the races. Some of our players aren't at the races. Trent's struggling a bit. He got better as the game went on.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
got better, but he struggled. Firmino's been terrible. Mane's been terrible. Our midfield, Ginny has been the old Ginny the last 3 games. He's just vanished.
But isn't that testimony to Klopp's system that he's formulated for us now?
Yeah, exactly. That just proves that the team is more important than the individual. That's what it does.
Yeah. Right. Let's get into the game itself, because it's a very much a mixed bag in the first half for me. There's some good movement. We're unlucky. The keeper at their keeper at one stage looks like he's having one of those games where he'll save no matter what way it's thrown at him, and we'll come away thinking, only that keeper will be awful for the rest of the season, but he'll do it at Anfield. That's the way it goes. There's parts of it where they get through once or twice, we look a bit shaky and hesitant. But Matt, I'll come to you. Did that kind of game suit us more? Because if they completely sit back and do nothing, a la Cardiff, and we become a bit complacent, it usually works against us. I think them getting a few openings kind of fired us up a bit, and you've seen the Salah goal. It's a proper sucker punch to something that happens down the other end of the pitch seconds earlier. Did it suit us a bit more that they tried a little bit?
I don't know. Did they? Did they really?
Well, they done more going forward in the first half, Matt, for me, than a lot of teams have at Anfield this season. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. We'll give them that. I mean, again, I was never worried. It might have helped us going forward. That counter-attack, that was peak Liverpool from last season. That happens. Keeper, out to the wide, and then you put one of the forwards through, and either they score or they pass it to one of the other forwards and there's a goal. That is what Liverpool was known for second half of last season. So it was great to see, and good to see Salah on the score sheet. I was confident we were going to open them up anyway. We had the front 3. We had Shaq on. and we had the two holding midfielders with one of them pushing up. So I was more than confident that we had enough for Fulham. I mean, you got to look as well compared to last season. I think it was you, Gav, who said, did we lose to Cardiff 3-2 when they were bottom last season?
No, I think it was the season before. It might be in Swansea.
Was it?
I think Swansea were bottom and came to Anfield and won 3-2.
Well, we spoke about it last pod as well. These are the type of teams where you look at it and we would blow Man City away and then come here and get a draw, and it was infuriating. Now we're just a fucking machine. Like this, we're just rolling through these teams, just very, very systematically rolling through all these teams, 1-0, 2-0, and just compound and just keep going and passing around and going and wearing them down and getting the opening. And where I go back to your question, I don't know if them attacking openers up, but we were going to score against them anyway. It's a fact of this season. We were going to keep them out, and we were going to score 1 or 2 goals. That's how we've been going through these teams.
Yeah, Grizz.
Swansea.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Cheers, mate.
But you know, like you sent me a couple of things you wanted to speak about before this, right? And the first one was a slow, sluggish start. Is it slow and sluggish, Grizz, or is it? That's actually hard to say. Slow and sluggish.
That's what I wrote.
Thanks. But is it that way, or as I go back to, is it just us walking them out and taking our time to walk it out because we're confident of what we can do, or is it a little bit of an arrogance where, yeah, okay, we'll start like this because we're better than them and we believe we're better than them, and we get there in the end, 70 minutes in they'll run out of legs sort of thing? Or is it simply, Grizz, for you, slow, sluggish and lacking ideas?
I wouldn't say the lacking of ideas, but I'll definitely call it slow. I think it was just the early kickoff didn't help. It never helps, does it? 12 o'clock on a Sunday morning. It was a bit of a leftover from the Red Star game. I thought that first 45 minutes we were quite shoddy. I mean, Twitter was quite happy. Most of the Twitter seemed quite happy with it, sort of, but I wasn't. I thought, I'm like Ian in terms of, I thought Cato would have started. I mean, two number 6s against Fulham. I was a bit unhappy with that, and so it transpired that Ginny was absolutely anonymous. The only bright spark in that first half for me was Shaq. I mean, every time he got the ball, he kind of sort of looked, there was urgency to his play. He sped up our moves every time the ball came to him. He was the only one sort of who was trying. Trent and Robbo tried fairly hard, but the quality was really, really poor for me. I think it was a combination of them sitting back. I don't think because they actually dropped their star playmaker, Seri, for that lump Chambers, who's a centre-half, just to tackle in midfield. So they went defensive, which is not like them. So, that didn't help sort of us create any great openings. But, yeah, that first 45 minutes was a bit of a non-event until our goal, or their goal, and then our goal.
Yeah, it's... I still stand by the fact that with teams coming out and being this defensive, I think it can be difficult at times to play the football you want to play. And if you look, Ian, if you look at the front three we have, it's not a front three where you can go a bit plan B-ish, and if intricate stuff doesn't work off, you get it to a full back and you launch it in a box for the likes of a Mitrovic save that Fulham look for. We just continue to play our game in a belief that we will beat them. And like Matt says, we're scoring against you. It's just what's happening today.
Yeah, I just think Klopp's got complete confidence that sooner or later, with what we've got at our disposal, we're going to win. You know what I mean? It's like, an analogy would be, if last season we played chess and we try and win in 5 moves, but we'd leave ourselves open to a counter-attack. You know what I mean? Whereas now, he's just taking his time, moving his pieces around the board, and he just thinks we're getting it done anyway. And you can't really complain, and you can't really say he's wrong, because he, more often than not, he's winning, and we're winning. The game was a bit sluggish, do you know what I mean? And like I said, I wouldn't have chose that midfield 3, but even before their offside goal or whatever it was, they should be 1-up. That Sessegnon should have scored when he went clean through.
Absolutely.
I don't really know what happened. He got a bit lucky against Gomez, but there was another time in the first half as well when they overwhelmed us, and Mitrovic was a shit shot as well. So we are still capable of leaving ourselves open, but we've got away with it a bit. The Alisson as well, like doing that little shitty parry right back into the box. You know what I mean? So we've got away with a few. We're not completely impregnable, but I think when you've got potentially the best front three in the world and two of them are only running at like 60% efficiency, to carry on winning, we can't really complain. I mean, I was watching the game today, the first half, and I was bored to tears at times. But you just got to, like I say, you just got to look at the bigger picture. We're only 11 games into out of 38. If this season follows last season's pattern, 12, you say that. If this season follows last season's pattern, then we'll progressively get better as the season goes on. Like, do you know what I mean? So at this point of the season, there's just no way. The only really poor performances we've had have been in Europe. All right, we haven't blown teams away in the league, and we've been a bit underwhelmed. But we haven't been poor in any of the games where you think, we deserve to lose that. So I find that I'm not as overwhelmed, I'm not as excited. But at the end of the day, we're still 2 points behind one of the best sides there's ever been in the Prem. 2 points, it's one game. If we get to the last game of the season 2 points behind City, I would absolutely lick my own arsehole.
Yeah, but then you'd probably have the disappointment of them winning 7-0 and us not getting near them.
Then you'd have herpes.
I catch it twice, man.
Not at the same time, anyway. Matt.
Yeah.
The goal. Let's get to the goal, because people have been saying that Salah's touch has been off. He actually gets away in the Arsenal game in a similar position down that inside right channel, and it's a bad touch, and Xhaka gets towards him. But this looked like old Salah, didn't it? Electrifying pace, great touch to get him in a position, and a cool as you like finish. Obviously the highlight of the first half, because it's the only goal, but for me it was great to see that sort of goal being scored by Salah against the side that you thought was going ultra defensive. To open them up and score like that was really good, wasn't
it? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're saying the Salah of old. He's been getting in good positions. He's been creating more big chances. He's been assisting more than anyone else in our team. He just hasn't been finishing at the high rate that he was last season. That's all. But he's still getting in the positions. But yeah, this is great to see, because he's using his pace, and it's nothing better than seeing someone using the pace from like near the halfway line and just fucking going for it. It was good. I mean, I hope he was offside. We've had enough shit our way. I hope he was offside, and fuck it, I'm gonna say their goal was onside. I don't give a shit. We've had so many bad decisions our way. Fuck it, it's meant to come around. But yeah, I mean, it's just good for Salah as he starts racking these up like he did last season. We had people 4 games in saying he can't finish and all this stuff. So as he just keeps racking them up, he'll just get his confidence more and more, and by the end of the season, before you even know it, he'll be on 25 goals again, and that's what he's heading for right now. What's he on now? He's on 6-12 in the league, so he's on
about 8 goals for the season, I think, so far. I think I could be 1 or 2 off that, but
and we're a third of the way through, so he's on for about 26 to 30 goals.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be one of them seasons. Everything is looking like a blueprint of last season, except we're getting the points. So if we do pick up, then yeah, absolutely superb. Salah of old is back.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of one of those unerring finishes that, you know, you did see it from the end, from most of last season. He was just putting it away and minimum fuss, where he struggled a little bit in front of goal this season. I think he's snatched at a few things, he's hesitated, he's tried to be cute, and it hasn't worked. I just think it worked for him. It was perfect, that goal, for me, to see him do that.
I think he's trying too much this season.
Yeah.
You see him on the edge of the box, and you know he's going to put on his left foot and go for the curler in the top left.
Yeah, and I'm arguing for a while that if he goes outside a defender once in the first 10 minutes, it puts the doubt in them, and then they don't know where he's going, and he actually gets the space then to pull inside if he wants.
Yeah, I know you said this, but I don't mind a player like Salah going for that, because you know it's going to pay off sooner or later. It's just going to start banging in again. So it doesn't look like he's lost his confidence, because he is going for it. It looks forced because he's not scoring, and last season he was scoring, which is sometimes a matter of inches. I don't mind him still going for them. I know it's annoying to watch, but if we're still winning and keeps cutting back in until he gets his confidence back, I'm all for that.
Yeah, Grace, the system you said there, where 2 6s or 2 deep line midfielders against Fulham frustrated you a little bit. It's becoming more and more of a thing for us, isn't it, this system? Do you think it suits us? Do you think it hinders certain players or brings certain players to the fore? Is it something you'd like to see more of? Or do you keep it for certain games, certain occasions?
Yeah, none of yous are going to remember, but I did think that this season we're going to play with 2 6s in certain games, but I didn't expect it to be against Fulham at home. This kind of selection and a performance, proper reminded me back to the Rafa days and Gerard Houllier days, where we just kind of turned up at Anfield and we knew we're going to keep a clean sheet and we're going to score a couple of goals, and the crowd's not going to be really richly entertained. It had a kind of sort of deja vu back to the Rafa days. I do think the system does suit the players. Ginny's played really well up until last 2-3 games. Ginny's turned into a ghost again last couple of games. So I did think maybe Henderson would have stepped in. This system, I think it suits us. I think the only problem, it was quite apparent in this game, is what do we do with Firmino in this system? Because even though we've put Salah through the centre and he's got the goals and everything, Firmino suddenly looks lost to me because he's dropping way too deep. And even though this position is what he was sort of predominantly playing at Hoffenheim, he's become so accustomed to being our focal point of our attack and sort of the last man and creating space for this, coming shorter and collecting the ball. It's a conundrum that Klopp will eventually solve, because that's what he does. But it is for now. It's a bit of a slight worry for me how to fit in Firmino in this formation.
Yeah, with this sort of formation, I suppose if you're playing 4-2-3-1, you have to put Firmino. Kind of has to stay up front, because you have that fella in behind him. My thing with Firmino is he was coming too deep, way too deep. I like him dropping 10-15 yards off centre halves and giving them something to think about rather than being very easy to pass on. Ian, is this just a system we have to play at the moment because of the players that's available to us? Wijnaldum and Fabinho being 2 of them that are available to us, and they're probably better in that system, although I'd argue Wijnaldum's better on his own as a deeper player. Is it just something we have to use at times with the personnel that's there, or is it something you think we're looking to use for the majority of the season, regardless of people available?
I don't think we have to do it. I think it's a conscious decision. He's got, at the moment, other than Ox, he had his full midfield to pick from today. So he could have went with just one number 6, because Fulham aren't got an attack, but not a lot anyway. So I think his preferred formation before he came to us was always 4-2-1-3. Do you know what I mean? Or a variance of that. He thinks he's more suited. With one of the sitting players being a bit more of a ball player. I think Gini gets lost in it too. He almost like relinquishes all responsibility, and he's like, he can do that, and I don't really know what he does, to be honest, because he does go missing in games quite a bit. The 2 definitely suits Fabinho, and if you want to get the best out of him, then I suppose you play him in his best position until he's really accustomed to the game, to the way we play and stuff, I suppose. And maybe Klopp's looked at that game and went, I know it's a shit saying, but maybe he's looked at that and gone, right, it's a free hit for Fabinho today. They're not really going to attack, let's put him in. I don't think he played that well, to be honest. I thought he done alright. I've seen a couple of people go mad on Twitter saying man of the match, outstanding. They're just desperate for him to be a man of the match. That's all that means, because he was okay. He was not special. He was not special, and he wasn't poor. You know what I mean? He done well. He done okay. So you need him to get minutes. I tell you what I thought was strange. I get bringing Henderson on to get a few minutes, but why not bring Keita on instead of Milner for a few minutes as well? You give Keita like 2 minutes at the end of the game, and you're like, no good can come of that. So that's a bit strange. But I just think we're not giving anything away. So our defense, as good as our defense is, we're also better. If you play two in front of them in the midfield, they're even more solid as well, and they're not getting through. And we're playing games where we can score one goal now. We effectively score two pretty much every game, and we don't concede that many. So we're just going. If you just go by those stats, we've got to keep winning games, and I think that's how it's going until a team figures us out. I don't see why he should change it. Not just because all us players on Twitter are like, but we want to score 6. You don't get extra points for scoring 6 than you do for scoring 2. So I think he's choosing it because it's more solid. He's got the personality to have any formation he wants. I think in order to play Shaqiri in a 3, I think he feels more secure with having 2 sitting midfielders, because he's not really a midfielder. Shaqiri, up until very recently, he's a wide forward. So if you're going to play him in a 3, which I said we would at the beginning of the season, by the way, shout out to me, then you give him more protection as 2 6s, even if one of them is invisible most of the time.
And it allows the fullbacks to get forward as well, which against a team like Fulham, which are going to sit narrow and deep, you need the width. We don't have width up front. We play Manny on the left and Salah on the right, so we have no width up there. Our width comes from the fullbacks. Playing 2 sitting midfielders allows them to both attack, not just one. Yeah. So you can rotate it from right to left.
Both the assists today.
What's that?
Both fullbacks got our assists today as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know where I understand where you're coming from with all that, but I get the only worry I have with all that is that, like Grizz said, playing 2 defensive midfielders, and that's what they are, it's letting teams away with it a bit. And with you saying until teams find us out, I don't think it's about finding us out. I think it's about teams having the balls to come and play us more than finding us out. I think until teams actually grow us and try put it up to us, we won't see what maybe Fabinho was capable of, and what he's actually there for. Because for me, he's there to break things up deeper and be really good at releasing balls, medium and long range kind of passes to get teams or players away. I'm going to move on. Grizz.
Gav, just a quick one.
Yeah.
Just a quick one with that. Do you know, me and Ian like fairly critical of Ginny's performance in that sort of role alongside Fabinho. Do we think this could sort of help Henderson if we play this formation a bit more? Because a lot of people are critical of the way he plays the 6 when he's on his own. Do we think he's still got the legs and the energy to sort of get into the box? Like if Fabinho does what he's been doing and sort of get those tackles and win the ball, and then Henderson could be an extra weapon, going forward and getting into the box. This system could actually be the sort of a new making of Henderson, maybe of the 13-14 version.
For me, I'm not a fan of this system. I'm not a fan of 2 lads sitting deep. I like the fact that we play 1 deep and we give them loads of responsibility to recycle the ball, break things up, and the other 2 lads press on with the front 3 and make it really difficult for the opposition, win it, and then have 5.
That's what I'm saying, Gav. Henderson could do that now.
I prefer Henderson if he's playing, or any of them, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, pick one of them and play them deep, and then pick 2 lads ahead of them. Oxlade-Chamberlain is becoming a bigger miss for me week on week because of what he does. Matt put out a video during the week of the Champions League quarter-final second leg where we scored a goal, and one comment was, the space Chamberlain gets here is what we've missed all season, and I couldn't agree more with that comment.
My comment.
Was it yours? I thought it was someone commenting to it, but if it was yours...
No, I commented on my own video.
Yeah, of course you did. No one else was watching.
Retweeted it as well.
8 views. No, I'm not a fan of this system. I'll hold my hands up and say I'm not. I just think it gives far too much respect to teams that don't deserve it. And if you want to win leagues, you don't give people respect. It's as simple as that. Moving on, second half, lads. Much better in the second half for me. Some much better football. We looked a lot more solid, I thought. And I want to talk a little bit about, for me, the player of the second half, and probably the match, but we'll get on to man of the matches in a bit. Xherdan Shaqiri. Grizz, I'll stay with you. He impresses me every time we play. Regardless of the opposition or what he's asked to do, he applies himself brilliantly. He's always looks like the spark that could ignite us. Is he pushing Grizz to be a regular? And I mean a regular, like, where, you know, he's on the team sheet and there's no arguments. For me personally, absolutely. But you know, we don't make the decisions. But in terms of his attitude, what he's shown, even when he's not been in the team, has been commendable. Everyone had doubts about him, like, oh, will he be happy with just being a squad member when he's a big fish at Stoke? Well, he's proved that wrong. Then there was the does he work hard enough theory. You know, he's a bit of a luxury. He's proven that theory wrong as well. So, you know, the kid's doing... I mean, we said when he signed, how happy is he to be at Liverpool? Proper like a fan. He loves it. You know, his interaction with the crowd when he scores, everything about him is lively. He's actually the shining light in our attack. I mean, I know Salah's still getting the goals, which is excellent. And I thought Salah, I don't know if we're going to touch on it. We have touched on it, but Salah was much better. I did see glimpses of the old Salah, but Shaqiri is just a bundle of energy, isn't he? That little man, he's just like proper full of dynamite. Every time he gets the ball, looking to cut in, go out. You know, he's doing fantastic, and for me, he's definitely earned his spot in the team. Definitely. Ian, a question for you from Kev O'Sullivan on Periscope. The ref today. I don't want to go into what we done last week, but how did Chambers not get a straight red in the second half, Ian?
Because the referee hasn't got a slow motion replay, I think it's the only thing that kept him on the pitch. It was a bad challenge, like, but at full speed, it just looks full blooded. And it was Salah on it. Salah doesn't really make that much of a deal of it. He's not really that type of player. I think that helps him as well. But looking back, with all the replays that we've got, yeah, I think it's a definite red. But listen, I hate talking about referees because most of them are nonsense, aren't they? I hate it. But it's also, every now and again, it's important to be devil's advocate and say that game is moving at 100 miles an hour and they're chasing around world-class athletes non-stop and things happen in split seconds, you know what I mean? And they have to make a decision in a split second. I don't like defending them because they're all horrible bullies, you know what I mean? But every now and again, I don't really think it was that bad that he didn't send them off, you know what I mean? It's not that bad. I've seen a lot worse, like.
Claire, that we dedicated the show to last week, says, I think she says Shaqiri reminds her of Norman Wisdom. I think it's Shaqiri she's speaking about, but we'll get on to her afterwards and find out if that's what she actually thinks.
Claire obviously takes acid before she watches football, and I think
I'd be taking acid if I had to watch us fucking 4 every Sunday as well, to be perfectly honest. Lads, man of the match before we finish. There was a bit of arguments over it last week. I think it was Milner and Van Dijk finished 2 each on this show last week. This week, what are we going with? Matt, I'll go to you first. Man of the match.
Fabinho,
of course. Look, Ian's fuming. Ian's absolutely fuming. Ian, I'll let you come back in. Who would you like your man of the match apart from Fabinho to be?
Mane.
By an absolute countryman, I thought it was Andy Robertson, but he was outstanding.
Okay.
He get the headlines because his finish was world class. He made it look a piece of piss. But I just think Robertson's a different level.
Okay. Grizz, for you, man of the match?
I'm going to have to agree with Pinky. It's got to be Robertson. Shaqiri does run him close, but yeah, Robertson. I think the energy and sort of the assist. He should have scored as well. Actually, yeah. That's the only disappointment. That was a poor finish. But yeah, Robertson for me.
Okay.
I think he picks out Shaqiri with that cross. You know, I think he picks him out like a 50-yard trail. Trail and 9-iron. I think he picks him out. It's brilliant, like.
If he's hitting 50 yards off a 9-iron, he'd want to fucking give it up, man.
No, because it went 500 yards in the air.
Doesn't matter. He'd be probably playing gap wedge, to be honest.
All right,
Matt will tell you.
Tiger Woods.
Oh no, not him. Well, my wife hasn't bet me around with a golf club yet and damaged me car, but I'll get back to you next week and fill you in.
She swung and missed.
she aimed too high.
Ran over you.
Tiger Woods is a sex case, isn't he?
Oh, he's probably. Oh, listen, don't get into that.
He's good, isn't he?
Don't get into that. I hate him. I used to hate him, and then I was kind of. I wasn't really bothered by him, and now he's starting to annoy me again because he's getting all the sympathy from the crowds, but he still has that obnoxious fucking.
Nah, fuck off. Listen, if you're famous, bollocks to all these people with one girlfriend. If you're famous, you're doing stuff every night, like you're a dog. Bottles of vodka, PlayStation, and 6 strippers. You're going for it. You've got the money. Who gives a fuck?
I think we've just found out what's going to happen to Matt's marriage as soon as he gets famous.
Yeah. Forced deal Matt signs and it's all gonna fucking go off, isn't it? Image right.
But you know, Chris Rock stand up says a man is only as faithful as his options. So if you're a big fat fella and you're getting no one hitting on you, then you can be faithful for 35 years. Everyone thinks you're a dead nice fella. If you're Tiger Woods and you've got all these mad golf groupies throwing themselves at you at every other hole, you're gonna take a mulligan. Do you know what I mean?
Take a mulligan. I like it. Man of the match is Robertson as well for me. Just to get back on topic, because I think Mane has struggled the last little while, and I think Robertson has made up for it and masked it a little bit because he's been up and down and keeping Mane involved to a point where, although he's not as effective, he looks, part of the game. I think if Robertson wasn't as busy as he was, I think Mane could be, people could notice it a bit earlier and a bit quicker. So Robertson for me, man of the match. That's going to be the end of the live part of the broadcast. We're going to continue on after this, and we're going to do a little bit more discussion. We'll add it all in. We're going to put it all together for a podcast for you tomorrow. So this video will be part of a longer podcast that you can download from about 11 o'clock tonight. I'll do my best to get it out. That's been the Fatback 4. That's been Ian. That's been Matt. That's been Grizz. That's been Gav. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your week. Back with you. We will be back with you next week, won't we? A couple of us will pull out halfway through the week, and then we'll say, look, we'll take a week off, lads.
I'm having a week off.
Of course you are. It's drinking season in Dubai. And we have you penciled in for that already. But that's been us. Have a good one. Over and out.